What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live right here on your twitch.tv or YouTube. What, you don't like the double point, Dave?
No.
My one hand just seems really close to the camera now.
It's very E.T.
Yeah, like maybe the 1 point, but like it's because I'm so close that it makes it look weird. But I'm joined with and I'm going to say this right, Dave, my beautiful co-host Dave Oster. Apparently there's...
Are you sure not ugly?
Yeah, there's a fan club out there. Deshaun Mars is the leader of it. Comment on one of our videos, Dave. Bashing you.
Saying, like, if 5 is average, I gotta be at least average. Gotta be average. Can't be better.
Dave's like, if I'm a 5, what does that make Ricky?
No, I ain't saying that.
That's what I'm thinking. Apparently on Friday, Dave, like I said, I learned a lot of new things about myself that I apparently did not know.
Had some constructive criticism out there.
It's not like I have a camera in front of me, Dave, and I look at myself on a computer screen 5 out of the 7 days a week.
Not like you got 8 years of, video.
Oh, gee, it's more than that. It's fucking... Is it 8 years?
It's 8 years.
Was it 2012? Yeah, 2012 we started doing that shit. I was going to say it was like 12 years. I was going to overshoot it. Damn, like 8 years of us doing fucking videos on the internet.
Yep.
It's fucking surreal, but welcome in.
You can see the growth of literally nothing. We look the exact same.
Literally the growth in some cases.
Well, for you.
But welcome in. We got a
beard, at least.
Jam-packed show today. Yeah, I got a beard now. We got a jam-packed show because obviously Football Monday. We got all the games we got to react to. But we got some Patreon reader mail today. We also have a draft, a lot of smoke screens going on this week that Dave and I are going to hit to. Before we get into everything, though, very quick. If you're not, and I know some of you are not because I don't see you in it, you got to join the best community on the internet. That's our Discord. Link down below if you're on YouTube. !Discord. Get you into that. If you are on Twitch, if you love the show, want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you do it. If you want to get in on Wet Boys, if you want to get in on the reader mail, like Pat sent in our reader mail for today's show, that is how you go ahead and do it. You can also support us by throwing us a sub at Twitch, where we're live every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids, but we're also on YouTube as well at MVP Sports. And Dave, we got a jam-packed show. Like I said, all the football games, basketball topic, football topic, and we're starting out with the basketballs. And this is one we were going to hit on, what was it, Thursday when... my Wi-Fi was all fucky is basically the proper, I think that's the industry term for it, is fucky.
As someone in IT, I can confirm that's the correct term.
We were going to talk about the Pistons and Patrick Williams because last week there were rumors, and this was from, so the Rookie Wire had it where it said the 19-year-old projects to be a strong two-way option at the next level, talking about Patrick Williams, and a huge reason why teams like him. According to Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report, Williams has even received coveted target for the Pistons with the 7th overall pick. The exact quote being, but multiple sources tell Bleacher Report that Patrick Williams has become the coveted target for Detroit, and it's easy to picture the Pistons talking themselves into the upside. Well, Dave, just a weekend happened, and now the rumor has turned from targeting to maybe Williams has gonna receive a promise from the Pistons to draft him at 7. This is from, so in a mock draft, LA Times writer Dan Wookie projects the Pistons to draft Florida State small forward Patrick Williams. This is what he wrote in the mock draft. Some scouts and executives believe Williams has a promise to the Pistons if he's still on the board here. Detroit must like Williams' combination of measurables and potential and youth. An ideal complementary player to any rotation. He wasn't that productive last season, but Williams' athleticism and two-way potential is eye-catching. Dave, the question I have is Patrick Williams the right pick for the Pistons at 7, or do you just see this as smokescreen city?
I mean, 50-50, like one way, half dozen the other. Like, it is truly interesting. I think the one thing you have to look at is where he could go from here, kind of a thing. Like, you're saying, okay, fit on the Pistons. Could it be? Well, he does seem to play the same position as a Blake Griffin, who we understand short term because he is kind of injury prone and at the end of his prime, or his prime's over because of said injuries,
Yeah.
and they're looking to move on. But then they just took the long-term project in Sekou Doumbouya last year, who had a couple moments, but honestly, he's still trying to find his footing. So I was like, okay, are they going for? Do they just feel that strong about Patrick Williams? His college performance doesn't scare me. I kind of get, the Jaren Jackson Jr. vibes out of him. Obviously the different prospects, but in the same way that neither one of them was the like, I'm the star of college basketball, but
yeah,
I've got great fundamentals. I've got great skills that will translate to the next level. I'm a hard worker. I'm a two-way player. I know how to fit into an offense and play at my level on defense. So like, he kind of does give me those vibes. So I really do like him as a high upside pick, but it's a weird role because the Pistons are just in a position where they need so much talent that you had mentioned prior, the idea of a smokescreen going, hey, I know maybe the Celtics would love to come up here and get somebody. And if we can trade back, well, that's a win-win kind of deal right there now, isn't it? So kind of, I could see both ends of it. If they do believe he is BPA and want him that badly because they think he will translate similar degree that Jaren Jackson did for Memphis, then absolutely. If you think you can get that level of a talent, you take him. I don't care what you have on your team. But easily could see the other side of this coin.
Well, it just, for me, the big thing is if you are the Pistons, what is the first thing I think you need to ask yourself if you're Troy Weaver, who's the general manager, the new GM of the Pistons, is what is your plan for Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin? Because Rose, we've already heard, there's pretty much he's out of town. He's going to go to a contender. Pretty much the one that I've heard in rumors is, if Rondo goes to the Clippers, Lakers are going to be interested in D Rose. And also at Blake Griffin, if you're thinking about shipping Blake Griffin, then you don't really need, I know we keep saying Hayes or Halliburton. That's the mindset I've been in, Hayes or Halliburton. But the Pistons, if they move on from both those guys or are thinking about moving on from those guys, hell, if even Christian Wood leaves in free agency, that changes where this team is. And they're not at a place that I think that's like, hey, we're going to compete not just for the playoffs, but we're going to compete in the playoffs. This is a team that is, let's enter not a long rebuild, but let's enter the rebuild now and work up because
if they're getting rid of those three pieces, they're
entering a rebuild.
No, they're at the we are in the scrap heap right now. There is nothing on that team other than Luke Kennard and Sekou Doumbouya, who looks like he's 2 years away from being 2 years away.
And that's also the thing of what is they got to find their timeline.
Yeah,
they got to find it because to me, how I'm looking at it, how I'm thinking, if I'm putting my head or putting my mind in the head of Troy Weaver, all the Piston blogs I'm seeing say the same thing. And I'm going to read this from the NBA.com did a little profiles for the Pistons. And this one comes from their Halliburton one. It says, keeping in mind how new GM Troy Weaver has emphasized the importance of character, second-heartedly by Casey, Halliburton stands as one of the most attractive Pistons draft candidate. High IQ, playmaking, character, three-point shooting, with size as a plus at point guard and the versatility to play any perimeter position makes him a strong candidate. Let's take Halliburton, switch him out, put Williams in there. Williams at the 4 hits a lot of those same things. No, haven't heard any character issues. When you look at all of his scouting reports, high IQ is one of the things they talk about. Can shoot from the outside, has athleticism, has potential to where I'm almost looking at it where are the Pistons almost going, hey, maybe Luke Kennard and Sekou are the kind of building blocks for this team. Maybe you add in a Troy Brown if you think he's going to be on the team long term. Unless I'm
Troy Brown is on the wrong team.
Unless I'm thinking about someone else. Who am I thinking about? Is it Bruce Brown that I'm thinking about?
Brown.
Is that who I'm thinking about? Then Bruce Brown. I knew it was A. Brown on the Pistons. If you think he's in that 3, then go ahead. But they might be looking at it going, hey, we can get Williams here and worry about getting our playmaker next year because our timeline right now is to get guys with potential because
They
of
got Louis
Sekou.
King too, your boy from last
And they
year.
got Louis King too, who would need some developing. Like, that's
He's
the thing.
been in the G League, yep.
With Sekou, that's the big one where, like you said, if I'm saying it right, you said 2 years away?
I made the joke because
The Caboclo. He's a year away from being a year away.
He's Caboclo he was 2 years away from being 2 years away, and now it has been 5 years, and we're waiting. But no, I mean, like, Sekou, definitely a raw prospect. He got a lot of upside though. Like, that's the thing. He was not a guy you expected to hit a home run his rookie year. So I do expect him to continue to grow, but I just wonder if Christian Wood is part of the plan for the future, if Blake is part of the plan for the future, if you wrote, like, same thing. It's all three of those guys. You, like you said, you have to establish whatever timeline you want to be on. I do love the idea of Tyrese Halliburton going here. Just again, he's got great size. He's 6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan. He can guard 1 through 3 on the perimeter. Like, he is uber versatile. He is everything you want. He can shoot threes. He can play defense. He can do a little bit of everything. Why not take him? Like, that's the thing I don't get is why he's not higher on most people's boards. Pat Williams, I totally get it. He's got thighs the size of most people's torsos. Like, he's strong. He's quick. He's got a decent shot and room for improvement from 3. So, like, I think that there's a lot to love. But again, this to me screams more trade back than it does we're locked into him. No matter what they've got in paper, like, this screams somebody come take him.
Or is it a scream of, hey, we're going to promise you that you're here, but I'm only drafting you because of 2 reasons, where A, you fit what I want in a player, but B, like I mentioned, that's Celtics. Like, I could sell you to the Celtics, get 3 picks for you, especially if Onyeka Okongwu is gone. Also, the thing that I'm looking at is if it's not a smokescreen and they really do want him, I think next year's draft class, and yet again, things can change for many reasons, but looking at the early stuff, if you look at the power forwards and you look at the wings, there's guys like Zaire Williams. I'm going to fuck up this name, Jonathan Kuminga.
That's correct.
And then the next power forward is Usman Garuba from Spain. Whereas
he's amazing.
If you look, and also Evan Mobley, who's going to be at USC. But then you look at like Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green. You've got Mojave King, Jalen Suggs, Will Richardson, Terrence Clark, Brandon Boston. Next year could be, and maybe people are looking at next year like, hey, next year is going to be 2 and 3 heavy with some point guards mixed in to where it's like, we could take Halliburton.
The size of a wing.
Yeah.
He just happens to have ball handling skills like a point guard.
But like maybe that's the thing where the Pistons are looking at going, hey, we might be in this situation where we're a top 10 team again, and there's more guys that can do the same things that Halliburton and Hayes can do. So let's take Patrick Williams now. We like what he brings, and we can worry about getting that shooting guard or that point guard next year.
Some of those guys do have much higher potential upsides. I mean, I won't argue that. I like you list those names like, I'm familiar. Yep. And then I'm gonna go, okay, why would they avoid take? I don't know that. Again, I don't know.
But yet again, Halliburton could be a guy. I don't mean to cut you off. Halliburton could be the guy to where it's like, yeah, we could take him now, and then even if we do take a Cade Cunningham, if we do take a 2 or a 3, Halliburton can switch between the 2. He's the versatile one to where like me, it's like, how is that not the pick there at 7?
I'm with you. I think that he makes a lot of sense to a lot of teams. So Pat Williams, as much as I like him, as much as Sean loves him, I just don't. Unless he is BPA on their board, like literally, like you look at their big board and they're like, don't give a shit about Wiseman. Could care less about Lonzo Ball. Think Anthony Edwards.
Well, they would have to trade up for those.
No, but no, on your team's personal big board, you have to say 1 through whatever. Like, and if they think that none of those guys are attractive, and they're like, Patrick is a kid who looks like the for sure star out of this class. We see him as our number 1 BPA on the board. Like, that's cool. You can lock that in then. That's fine. I have a hard time believing that. Even if he is their 7th best player and he's there at 7 for them, I still have questions about, somebody had to be left there because my personal big board, I definitely have 7 guys ahead of him.
7? I would say at least 3. I would say Halliburton, Hayes, Okoro. Maybe Vassell if you want to put in a 4th. Like,
you don't think James Wiseman is better for them?
Well, so okay, the
way
way I'm looking at the way I look at the big board for the Pistons is, in my mind, it's like, yes, LaMelo could drop. So like, okay, LaMelo would be above Williams, but like, I look at guys like Edwards ain't going to be there. Wiseman, obviously they would be ahead on the big board, but like for Detroit, you got to look at what's realistically going to be there for you.
Your big board is your prospect rankings 1 through whatever. Yeah. It doesn't matter on what position you are in the draft.
Edwards and Wiseman would be above Williams.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, is Williams your 7th overall prospect in this draft?
No.
That's what you have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Because NBA draft, more times than not, every redraft I've ever seen done, people are like, fuck fit, you take BPA. The message I've been sending for so long a time is, if you can get away with BPA, you take BPA. Like, I understand there will be questions, but in the long term, no one's going to complain that you decide to take Michael Jordan after last year. Guess who you draft? Oh, no, it's another guy who plays the same position. No one gives a shit.
But I think this leads into what we've been saying so much about this draft of, this is the draft of outside maybe the top 3, maybe even the top 4 if you put Denny or Okongwu in there, or 5. Like, outside of that, this is a draft class that you love who you love and you hate who you hate. And like, I feel like outside that top 5, it switches beyond person. Like, some people like some things and some like the others, where there's no concrete, like, yeah, this is the top 10. It's like, oh, this is the concrete 3 with a 4 mixed in. And then after that, it starts to get murky after 5.
Yeah, I mean, I think most years are about the same, though, with that. Like, we all kind of put guys into brackets. I like Eric saying, they need a Killian Hayes. Like, Hayes would be killer for him. I mean, guy who's a lefty, who can create his own shot, who has distance. Like, everything about him screams good. But, again, will he be there at 7? So that is the question. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of this being deployed, because I'm with you. I think that this is a team that is on the brink of a rebuild. And you can supercharge a rebuild by moving on from a Derrick Rose, by moving on from a Blake Griffin, by trading back this pick to get 3 picks in this draft, or at least 2 more picks in this draft. Like, it all seems to add up that would be a massive win for them. So that's kind of where I land on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at now, of course, Brandon and I, the only 2 that I have saved from last year are the 2 big boards that we did, because then after that we switched over to the 3 of us with UI and Sean. And like, I'm just looking at my big board, and last year I had 2 of them, Zion, Cam, Barrett, then Langford, Nasir Little was my first top 5. The second one, Zion, Cam, RJ. So that stayed the same. And then after that, it did kind of switch. Nasir Little dropped a lot. John Morant shot up to number 4 at that time. Kevin Porter Jr. shot up. Like,
I will take all credit for John Morant at every corner I get.
But even like as Ja went through the season, Ja solidified himself in that top 4, top 2.
He was top 2
behind Zion, to where it's like, this year I feel like even LaMelo, there might be some people, I have LaMelo as a lock of top 3 in my big board. Some people,
but if you redraft last year's right now, Tyler Hero,
yes,
number
he
3
would be
overall,
like number 3.
Potentially, I would have Ja 1, Tyler Hero 2, Zion 3. As crazy as that sounds, that might be my order.
Who was at 3 last year? Why am I blanking
RJ.
on that? That's right, the Knicks. So the Knicks, Tyler Hero. Like, I would take Tyler Hero over RJ.
In a heartbeat.
Based on what happened, like Peanut Head.
Peanut Head.
Last thing I want to mention about this before we do move on. We didn't talk. You mentioned it before when Soapy was here. Yeah. Even with the Pistons taking Patrick Williams, that clashes with Sekou, does it? Because they're both 4s?
Cannot. I mean, look, they got plenty of minutes. They're a shitty team, so like, they'll both get on the floor. You can play 1 at the 3 if you really have to. Like, whichever one's got faster feet, put them out on the perimeter. That's fine. I don't think they're in a position where they're really like we're really trying to win every single game. Like every team's trying to win games, but like if we're being realistic, not really going to hurt them too much in the long run to play them next to each other for a while and see, hey, does this have any potential long term? Yeah, because you got to figure that out at some point.
Good point. Yeah. So Piston fans, obviously, let us know what you guys think. We're going to do things a little different, Dave. We're going to do Wet Boys before all the football stuff. Keep all the football stuff together, mainly because the Patreon reader mail has to do with the Bears. That's going to be the first game we talk about, so those will kind of blend into each other with that. So Wet Boys is the dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shooters, the moistest of men, sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our players from the previous day on a Monday. They're the players from the previous weekend. And how we do it is Dave gets a Wet Boy, I get a Wet Boy, and then the patrons, silver and above tier at patreon.com/MVP vids, they go ahead and get a Wet Boy themselves. We're going to start with Dave. The order today is going to be a little different. I'm going to switch with the patrons. I'll let you know about that why when we get to mine. There's a reason why, Dave.
I don't think so.
But for Dave, start it off. Who's your
I don't even know who my Wet Boy is.
Today was different. You're not going with a Wet Boy, you said.
Yeah, I said tried to. I just don't know which one I ended up with.
Oh,
it was very vague in the conversation.
I mean, at first you said TB, and then you were like, "Can I give it to the Bucks?"
Did I give it to the little Bucks team?
I don't know. That's a you to decide.
What's on the slide? I'm waiting for
There's no graphic for a dry dude.
There's no graphic for a
dry dude? Dry dudes don't deserve graphics, remember?
Why not?
Oh, that's how we always did it.
I feel like dry dudes get graphics.
No. You and I have never done graphics for dry dudes. I can change that in the future, but yeah,
don't know why they wouldn't get a graphic.
When TB got one for me, didn't get a graphic. Like, you sucked. Why do you deserve extra work on our part?
Your graphic for TB was this.
Oh, it was the picture. I showed the picture, but I didn't do an actual like Wet Boy graphic.
That's the equivalent of a graphic because it was just the Tom Brady meme. Like he didn't have a bad game.
I didn't know you wanted a picture, Dave. I didn't know you wanted a picture.
The picture would just be a scoreboard of that fucking game last night. That's all I could have worked with. Tom Brady in the picture, 3 interceptions. Their offense was 0 fucking rushing yards. Like there's so many things you can point at and laugh about this Tampa Bay team because they were just god awful. My drive dude was the entire Bucks team. I had to go away from Tom Brady because Ricky gave him the fucking meme number 4. Dry dude. I didn't want to double down on giving the go to fucking dry dude, but like the entire team
for 2020, baby.
The entire team just sucked. It was embarrassing. Like that was perhaps the worst Sunday night football game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was so uncompetitive. And then what made it even better was watching the fucking dance videos in the locker room and Sean Payton dancing. Like that's, I don't know how you live with yourselves at that point. Tom Brady in the TB12 program has got to fucking figure it out.
I am going to get to the Saints and that whole shit when we talk about the game in the recap because, Dave, I've got some stuff to say for Saints fans who are on Cloud 9 right now.
Sure.
You gotta do the thing, Dave, where it's like, I appreciate you're happy right now, but let's knock it down a peg. Let's knock it down a peg. The goal is still there.
As the number 3 team in the NFC, like you got the Packers. I'm sorry, you got the Saints, you got the Packers, and you got the Bears because we only lost the Saints by the narrowest of margins, and we beat the Bucks.
But Dave, you're 2-5, 2-4 in the last.
By the transit property. We are the 3rd best team in the NFC. I don't want to hear about the Seahawks. They got no defense.
But you're also the weakest. Remember, you're also the weakest.
5-4 team in the NFL.
I think 5-4. I'm pulling it up. You guys are 5-4.
Yeah,
you're 2-4 in your last 6.
Doesn't matter. 5-4 overall, baby. We're up there. We're in the playoff hunt.
I was gonna say, are you guys out of the playoff hunt right now? You guys are at.
How can't we be?
Yeah, you're at 8. You're only a game behind the Rams, who had the bye this week.
We're 100% in the playoff hunt. What are you talking about?
Yeah, shit.
Like
the
there's
Rams,
a lot
I
of
forget.
teams in the NFL, and we are above all of them.
Yeah, the Rams and the Cardinals are both. The Dolphins helped you out then, getting that fucking win in Arizona. Dave, the patron Wet Boy. They went with one I thought they were going to. He deserved a Wet Boy. He is the only reason why I did not have to worry this week. Sure. And that is Dalvin Cook. This is one, Dave, where I'll be completely honest.
I asked you going into this game.
I did not think he had it again.
Like, don't expect Dalvin Cook to do it again.
He's
back to normal Dalvin Cook.
Did you honestly think he was going to do this? Because I did not.
I had no clue what he was going to do. That's why I asked the fucking Minnesota Vikings fan.
I didn't think so. Yet again, I'm so cynical about my team this year that I'm almost mad that we won the last 2 weeks because I want a better draft pick. But yeah, it's
going to play out his contract with you.
At that point, it's almost like I got to accept it. But yeah, Dalvin Cook, like the one good thing is that, so Dave, going into fantasy this weekend, the personal league we're in, I was like, okay, Dalvin Cook put me up by enough to where I'm like, I don't have to worry about Leonard Fournette. I totally thought I was going to lose to you in the MVP league. Like, I thought Alvin Kamara was going to have more points. To where I was like, shit, I could almost see Alvin Kamara going on.
For 0 yards.
I didn't expect that. I expected Alvin Kamara to, like, have more touchdowns.
Leonard Fournette literally had 0 touches. Like, it was like, no, we're not using him in the rushing game at all.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's what you get for playing third string running backs. Like, if I was a healthy team, who knows? But not a healthy team. Because
I was all worried, Dave, when I played Corey Davis, and I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have played Corey Davis. I should have played Sterling Shepard with the Giants. Would have done well. Dave, the reason why I had myself go last is because, so for my wet boy, this is more of like a feel-good moment for not a sports team, but for just a general athlete. And I feel like after I saw this story, I'm like, this is something to where Dalvin Cook, the patrons originally voted for Josh Allen, but there were a lot of them that said, because, I assumed you voted for Dalvin Cook. Like, that's why they were going one way. And I'm like, since my thought process was Dalvin Cook's going to be getting a lot of wet boys, the wet boy I am giving today is not going to be getting a lot of wet boys, or you don't see this often. So
Josh Allen won the wet boy, and we didn't give it to him.
Well, Dalvin Cook was their choice. They thought that it was going to go here. And what I'm going to play here on our screen is this happened over the weekend. This is Chris Nikic for the, I'm going to take down our overlay. There we go. Oh, the YouTube video is freezing on me. Let's see. There's our overlay. So this happened over the weekend. This is an Ironman competition. This is Chris Nikic, a Florida athlete, became the first person with Down syndrome to finish and become an Ironman. He finished the Ironman, swam 2.4 miles, biked 112 miles, ran for 26.2 miles in 16 hours, 46 minutes, and 9 seconds. In the Ironman Florida competition. He will now be going on to the next competition that I think is in Japan. Yeah, he's going to now go, or Hawaii. He's going to the Ironman World Championships in Hawaii for 2021. So that's why for me, mine was more of the feel-good story, Dave, of like, I saw this and I was like, you know what, Dalvin Cook, he's going to get his wet boys. Like, there's going to be times where Dalvin Cook, Josh Allen, get wet boys.
So you mean Josh Allen's going to get his wet boy?
He'll get his wet boy. Like Dalvin Cook, originally I was like, okay, I had to make a pimp decision, Dave. Either Dalvin Cook or Josh Allen was getting snubbed. Which one do you think deserved the wet boy more, Josh Allen or Dalvin Cook?
Josh Allen beat the better team.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook beat a trash team.
Good point. That is taken. But either or.
Also, it just sounds like Josh Allen got robbed here.
Either way.
And no, I think your wet boy is extremely valid here.
Yeah.
I think it's a fucking incredible accomplishment because
did better than I would be able to do.
One of those things on my own.
Yeah.
So, well done.
And you used to do stuff like that, like when you were in high school.
I did like a
triathlon, right?
Yeah, I did a triathlon, but I forget the distances on there.
And that was what? Biking, running, swimming?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, same for events. It's just what distances. I think it was. Yeah, I don't fucking remember the distances.
Yeah, I just
blank out.
That's all I remember is Dave used to do triathlons. It's way better than I would have done. I wouldn't have even fucking finished. I would have probably died on the first one. Like swimming, I would have been able to. Nah, like I can swim. I just don't know like the distance.
Yeah, it's like a mile.
It's all fucking like physical energy, and that's where I think I'd fuck up with it.
That is called exercise.
Yeah, it's called exercise. Like I can swim. It's the running that I'd be like, oh god, dear God, I don't want to fucking do that. Biking's not bad.
Deceptive.
Is
deceptive.
It? I don't have problems biking. Like I enjoy out of all the exercise we ever did.
10 miles with me and you were dying. And
the legs were. That's the problem. Like sitting, like I would just have to get used to fucking sitting. But like running to me is the most boring goddamn thing in the world because like at least biking, like I feel like you got to focus on the balance and stuff. And you're like, my mind feels like it's doing more. Running, it's just like, fuck, what the hell do I think about? Even though I have music on, it's like, what do I fucking do? Like, there's nothing to do while I run. Like, at least with swimming, you got to think about fucking breathing and putting your head out of the stupid water so you can do that. But those are our Wet Boys for November 9th, 2020. And Dave, we got Patreon reader mail today. Pat Hill writing in a simple question, Dave. Basically, he's asking, will the Chicago Bears clean house after this season? There have been a report, or there was an article that Sam put in the Discord that apparently the McCaskey is not happy with how things are going down. After this game against the Titans, Bears 2-4 in their last 6 games. Do you believe that the Bears are cleaning house after this year?
I don't know how we do not clean house after this year. We've been asking for it for about 5 weeks now.
Yep. Last week we even discussed this a little bit, and we said maybe they get one more year.
Yeah, that's the problem. Matt Nagy should not be a coach in the head coaching position, in the play calling position in the NFL. This is a dual part problem. It was made extremely apparent yesterday, I should say, by our atrocious offensive line. Now, what happens is we went into this past offseason with some clear gaps. And obviously COVID made it more difficult because players opted out and, you had guys with different things and you didn't know really what to expect this season. But we didn't address our offensive line really, except for literally a dumpster dive in Fetty, someone who I think led the league in holding calls last year. And it's just, he wasn't a good player, but he was a filler. He wasn't someone we absolutely need to hit on. But like, we have had the worst offensive line in football this year, and then they got hurt, which means our backups have been in there, which means our already league worst offensive line was somehow even worse, which again, Nick Foles had about, I think, an average of like 2.8 seconds per drop back to get rid of that ball before he was officially pressured as a quarterback. And these are from normal rushes. These aren't from, blitzes. Like, you have 2.8 seconds on a rush on the standard front four coming at you. That's fucking embarrassing. So Ryan Pace didn't do his job, which means Matt Nagy should have been like, okay, let's look at what we got on the field and figure out how can I win with this group of talent. And he couldn't fucking figure out a way. And then he just contributes to that dumpster fire by just shoveling in gasoline by the fucking shovel, just dumping in more gas by horrible play calling. Like, I don't understand how this man is getting paid to call plays. And then he has the fucking gall to go up there in a press conference. Like, I don't see a problem with me calling the plays. Like, no problems here. I'm going to keep doing it. I mentioned it to the team. Nobody had any problems. Clearly, we're doing just fine. We are wasting literally a top 3 defense for the 3rd year in a row now. And we're cool with that. We have an offense that is worse than the fucking Jets.
Yeah, that's not good when you're worse than the Jets in anything.
We are worse than the Jets, and they don't even have a team.
Yeah.
Adam Gase was what are we doing? What are we doing? It's maddening. So, yes, the GM needs to be fired. The head coach needs to be fired. Our offensive coordinator, who apparently doesn't exist, needs to be fired. Our talent scouts need to be fired because we've missed on so many early round draft picks over the past couple of years that it's just set us back so far, and then we haven't made right moves in free agency. We went ahead and got a fucking pass rusher when we needed to spend that money on offensive line help. It's just, and now we're stuck with that too. There's so many problems that have just snowballed over time. I'm at the point where Mitch Trubisky, I'm starting to feel bad for the guy. I'm like, shit.
I don't.
Did we have it wrong?
No, you didn't, Dave. I'm going to tell you why.
I don't think we did.
No,
I think we have an idiot who is calling plays and an even bigger idiot who couldn't put talent on the field.
You're right.
A-Rob is sitting there on Twitter chirping like he's not getting a contract.
A-Rob's gone. Like, I
don't want to be here.
I am telling you this. Bears Nation, look into my eyes. A-Rob is gone.
We know.
We don't acknowledge that now. He's gone.
Talked on Twitter. He doesn't want to be here, and no one blames him. Every Bears fan's like, go be happy.
Yeah, you're right, though. Like, Mitch is not the problem. That's what we've learned. Mitch is not the problem. But the thing I hate is, like, I listened to Get Up today, and Rex Ryan, who I love how they have Rex
people.
Ryan on because like he's a very smart defensive mind.
Yes.
But it was like how like you had some good years with the Jets, but then some god awful years later on. And he today said that Nick Foles on the Bears is the Blake Bortles situation all over again. And I was like, no, because like Nick Foles is not a bad quarterback. I feel like Nick Foles is the quarterback that needs to be paired up. Like the coach that has Nick Foles has to know how to use him. And the thing that I feel like with this Bears team is Matt Nagy. That is your main problem. I feel like Matt Nagy gets too much credit for having the team Andy Reid put together and that front office put together in Kansas City. Because like Matt Nagy, he's proving one thing. You can't do something with Patrick Mahomes, come over to Mitch or Nick Foles and do the same thing. You can't take a backfield that was littered with like Kareem Hunts and like Charmander West would come up and be like, who the fuck is this? And he'd do well. You can't do that with Tariq Cohen, Cordell Patterson, and David Montgomery. Although I do like Montgomery, he's young. He will be good. He's proven that he can't do the same things he did. Like the Chiefs roster was just really good. It starts with that quarterback. I mean, also the other thing I think this proves, and this is the Nick Foles part, you know what Nick Foles is proving right now? Because of how bad he's been on every team but the Eagles, and this guy is kind of proving it in Indy right now. Frank Reich is a good fucking coach. Like, he was the offensive mind behind the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Seems to be the only guy that has been able to unlock Nick Foles into any sense of winning because his record is atrocious everywhere else besides Philadelphia. And now Frank Reich, like, when we talk about the Colts losing, we never blame him. It's always, we're blaming Phillip Rivers. We're blaming players on the field. And like with the Bears,
us with a better offense.
Yes. Well, and how does that?
The same team.
They've got a better coach, I would say. They've got the foundation is there. They've got a GM that knows how to draft. They have a coach that knows how to coach. Their problem is the same thing, like you said. I mean, they've built a defense that is good. They've like Jonathan Taylor, we're gonna have to wait and see. But like they have drafted good players. I think
the best or a top 3 offensive line in football.
Yeah,
and they're averaging 2 yards a carry with their number 30 something overall pick. Jonathan Taylor.
Now here's the thing too with the Colts. I think the run game we have to have a caveat because Marlon Mack, if he was starting and not injured, that run game would look totally different. Like he's the starter. Jonathan Taylor was never drafted to be the starter this year. Was never drafted to do that. Marlon Mack was their starter. So like that's why I feel like their run game is different. The Bears though, you're right. Like the one thing the Colts and the Bears have in common is they're trying to latch on to a veteran quarterback to put them into a playoff spot. The Bears are trying to get back to where they were when they lost to the Eagles in the playoffs. The Bears seem to can't get there. And like to go on the side of like you said, where it's like, did we have the right guy in Mitch Trubisky? The thing I'm going to say until Mitch either starts and proves me wrong is the opponents that Mitch played earlier in the year, they were cupcake opponents. You should have beat them with no matter who your quarterback is. That's how bad those teams are. So like for me, it's like Mitch beat the teams he was supposed to. I mapped it out in the preseason. You'll beat the first 3. After that, what are you going to do? Or you'll beat the first 2 because I was higher on the Falcons than what they did. So you'll beat the first 2. What are you going to do after that? And like I feel like there is no way through this season that Nagy and Pace should survive because as every Bears fan on Twitter says, you're wasting your defense with every time you give them an extra chance.
They literally took down the YouTube video of the post-game press conference and reposted it because in the first 15 minutes, there were 300 downvotes and just a swell of negative comments. Mm-hmm. So just ripped it off YouTube, waited 10 minutes, and reposted it. And I don't know if it's been done again or not since, but it's embarrassing. As a Bears fan, we're incredibly frustrated and we're incredibly passionate. That's the two things that we are used to. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just, I continually look at the play calling as the number one problem. Mm-hmm. Matt Nagy, I think that when you mention, we don't have the same weapons, Right. So Matt Nagy can't adapt. Well, I mean, Kareem Hunt is Kareem Hunt and he's special, but you look at what we had in Tariq Cohen, he was special too.
Yeah.
Don't forget, he had an incredible season, an absolutely incredible season a couple of years ago. And what did we do with him? We tried to run him north-south up the fucking gut.
Yeah.
Because Matt Nagy's a goddamn genius. Like, you look at what he's done with the talent we have and you go, oh, he doesn't understand. He literally doesn't understand what we have on paper.
Yeah.
And then you look at the play calling and you go, he doesn't understand the situation. 3rd and 15, we're going to run a 5-yard fucking drop. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It is so frustrating to watch, and it is so annoying to know that at the end of the day, like, putting up 17 points in the 4th quarter, just wasted our fucking time.
Yeah, I
would rather get blown out and have our coach fired earlier. Like, that's the way I feel. I'm at that point of spitefulness where I'm like, that's great, Nick Foles. I'm glad you can run the hurry-up offense. We've now seen that 4 weeks in a row.
So
why aren't we doing anything different for the first 3 fucking quarters of the game?
Are you saying that should the Bears do what the Falcons did? Should they? Yeah. And here's an interesting thing that the Falcons don't have, or I mean, I guess the Texans have it because technically he coached the Browns, but like the Bears have a head coach on that staff. They could easily say, Nagy, you're done, get out of here. Chuck Pagano, you're the interim. Chuck Pagano, head coach of the Colts. Like, he knows what he's fucking doing. The only reason why he had to leave the Colts was because he had to fight cancer. Like, he didn't leave on a bad reason. He literally got cancer and had to fight it. That's why he walked away from the Colts to where it's like, Ryan, I feel like that's the only thing Ryan Pace can do to try to save his job is throw Matt Nagy under the bus. That's what gone. You have to. Like Ryan Pace, you think that he can maybe get an extra year if he fires Nagy now and Pagano has a winning record with this team?
Nope. Don't think it's possible. I think Pace is gone. You have to look at the record. You have to look at the quality of moves he's made since he's become a GM with the Bears. And if you see the draft caliber, rounds 1 and 2.
Yeah.
We failed. We have Roquan Smith. And we have Jalen Johnson.
Yep.
That's it. We have 2 hits, and that's it. The other, how many years have you been here? 5?
Ryan Pace. Here, let me look it up.
It's 5. To me, it feels like a 5er.
I think you might be right, but I'll double check it. Ryan Pace. I had Nagy and Foles picked up. I did not have Pace. He was 2015. You're right, 5 years. He was with the Saints from basically, he was their director of personal scouting in 07 to 12. 13-14 was their player personnel guy. And then the GM of the Bears from 2015 to now.
Yeah, so I mean, look, Cole Kmet right now looks like a slower, worse, like literally runs in molasses version of Jimmy Graham.
And that's even worse though, because Ryan Pace, if you look at the 2 things coming in, it's like, oh, he was a part of the scouting with the Saints and the player personnel. He's the guy that's going to hit on draft picks. And we
hit on later ones. Again, no, we hit on later picks,
but like the early ones are the ones you have to hit on.
I agree. Jalen Johnson in the 2nd round was a steal because of his injury.
Yeah.
He's a fucking professional. I love that man.
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney, great pickup. Instant impact player, big play player, would probably be in I think he's top 5 for like rookie of the year kind of stuff for the offensive side. If we had a quarterback, like he has the talent to do that. Ridley was a 4th rounder. He's passable as a 5th wide receiver. You know, Montgomery is a 3rd round running back. He's about average. I don't think anybody's writing home about him. Roquan hit. Daniels, I don't know about a hit. Anthony Miller, as a 3rd wide receiver.
Anthony Miller though is like one where it's like he looks okay now, but like how much better is he going to get? Like that you don't know.
He's had hit and miss times. And then you go Trubisky, Shaheen, back-to-back misses. Like, that's what sucks. We traded up to get Mitch Trubisky, and that was the draft that set it all fucking off. Yeah. Floyd was a miss. Cody Whitehair was a hit, but still at what level? Like, Kevin White, huge miss. You know?
Yeah.
There's too many early misses. But late rounds, Amos, Langford, Deion Bush, Kwiatkowski, Eddie Jackson, Tariq Cohen, Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
Like we fucking kill the late rounds. That is absolutely like his superpower. He shouldn't be allowed to make a pick in the first 3 rounds.
Like
That's how I feel. I think that like we have to just understand that he can't hit the high profile must hit guys who are franchise changers and have that 5 years of contract control in round 1. Like you have to figure that shit out as a GM. Those are the most valuable positions, and we have failed over and over with them. So I don't think they're saving his job. I think that the Trubisky trade plus missing first round picks year over year have set him back. I will give him the credit he deserves for making the go for it move to get the best defensive lineman in football at the time. I just keep looking at this shit and it's just like, oh.
And the thing that, not bringing up the past to bring up the past, but like even Eric says, Trubisky and Kevin White were bad picks. And the thing, I tried to look it up for us in 2017. We were not doing the graphics yet for our mock draft. So like I would have to listen to see.
I remember Khalil Mack was my number 1 overall pick in his draft year. I remember that.
Yeah. So like
on record, that was on a video.
The 2017 Nation mock draft for ESPN, the Bears took Jamal Adams, which would have been a nice pick. But if you look at quarterbacks, let's see. Oh, they hit Christian McCaffrey with the Panthers.
That's cool.
Let's see. Mitch Trubisky went to the Browns at 12. So Mitch was the first quarterback off the board. I would have disagreed there. I like Deshaun Watson the best. They didn't have Deshaun Watson. Well, Dalvin Cook would have been a buck. Damn, that would have been weird. Let's see. Do they even have Dalvin in the first round? They had Mahomes to the Chiefs.
Hey, we knew that. That was heavily speculated, though.
And then they had Deshaun Watson 32nd to the Saints. That seemed low because I was always higher on Deshaun Watson. Like I thought that's the pick.
I mean, he had big game fucking, like you had years of production, you had big games, you had seen everything.
He even went head to head with Mitch and beat him. Like
and he went
numerous
head to head with fucking Bama.
Yeah, and beat them. To where it's like the Bears to me, I feel like the ownership, the McCaskies have basically 2 choices to make. One of them right, one of them wrong.
Fire everyone is the right answer.
They either fire everyone, which is the right answer, or they do nothing. Like that's the thing, because there is a part of me that wonders if Ryan Pace fires Nagy mid-season, could he save his job for at least one more year to then try to save his Bears life?
And the McCaskies, I could see if he's under contract.
Yeah, like that's the thing of like. I
do wonder.
Go ahead.
The ripple effect of this season is Bieniemy's stock lowered by Matt Nagy's failure, or is he still the go-to guy?
I'm gonna say no because he won us. Like the reason why I'm gonna say no is Matt Nagy didn't win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Bieniemy did.
Yeah, they were like this close. I mean,
I know, but like Bieniemy did. Like Frank Reich, look at it. Like he won a Super Bowl being the OC of the Eagles, and like. You look at, and I know Reed everyone's different. What?
Was Andy Reid play calling that, though?
No, that was the Doug Peterson, because Doug Peterson was the head coach. Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator. For Nagy? I think Nagy was doing the play calling.
You just said Nagy didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Bieniemy, I think Bieniemy's the main play caller. I think Andy Reid handed that off like right before Nagy. And it's been both of them. Because, Bieniemy's the worst kept secret in fucking the NFL. Where every single time there's a coaching opening, people go, oh, he should get the job. Because he should. Because he's fucking, smart offensively. Now, the only question I have, and it's the same thing I had with Frank Reich,
smart offensively, too.
Can you do the other jobs that a head coach needs? Because it's not just calling plays and everything. There's everything, you're controlling the team. The question I have with the Bears, though, Dave, is if you clean house this year, and by clean house, I mean Ryan Pace and Nagy are gone, can the Bears clean house and still save the life of this defense? Or would they have to truly clean house and get rid of defensive pieces because then you're just...
Mack is gone. I think we can hold on to the core of our defense.
Khalil Mack's the big one. Do you have to trade Khalil Mack if you're getting rid of Pace and Nagy?
I don't think so. I also don't know what his return would be at this point. I think we still know he's very good, but his production numbers have slumped because of this team and the situations they put him in.
I mean,
So,
you sell him to it. You might not get.
but JJ Watt is also potentially on the market this offseason. So that's the concern is that like JJ Watt just hit 100 sacks.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack's incredible and perhaps better than JJ at this point in his career. But like, I don't know, like JJ Watt name value versus Khalil Mack, like double market. I don't know how high we can get.
Aaron Rodgers for Khalil straight up, right?
I don't think they would do that deal.
Aaron Rodgers for Khalil. They got Jordan Love, man. He's the future.
He just went on the COVID watch list, actually, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
but no, I think that we can survive our defense. It's just play it smart. Draft about 3 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Trade for Sam Darnold and go from there.
Why not pick up Ryan Fitzpatrick a year if you don't want to get a young quarterback?
No.
I'm saying like no.
Go get Sam Darnold.
So
go get Sam Darnold.
If you can't, but I'm saying if you can't get a Darnold,
why couldn't we get a Sam Darnold?
What if you want to give up draft picks for Sam? Like, do you think Sam Darnold is going to be better than what he sees now, or are you just all putting that on the Jets being the Jets?
It's the Jets being the Jets. Sam Darnold has talent.
Okay.
We've seen enough games of him on the Jets pulling off good throws. He's not as bad as he looks. They just literally are talent starved out there. And Adam Gase looks like the biggest stooge in the world, and he's been their fucking coach, coordinator, and overlord for a couple years now. So, like, I don't put too much blame on Sam for that. And with Trevor Lawrence seemingly locked into that Jets team, he's going to be on the market.
The last question I want to ask you, and with me, I don't know if I would do this because how I feel about this prospect now is I don't know if I want to put him in the first round even yet because I feel like I need to dive way more into BYU tape. But at 16, if Zach Wilson is there, he's a quarterback that is rising on a lot of boards. Do you go ahead and take Zach Wilson if you like him? Like, could the Bears do that and bypass wide receiver and tackle even?
Well, we don't need a wide receiver right now.
I mean,
we need an offensive line. Doesn't matter who you have playing wide receiver, as proven by Alshon Robinson. If you don't have an offensive line, you don't have enough time to throw the ball.
Allen Robinson.
Alshon's
on the Eagles.
A-Rob. I'm so angry. And we talked
Alshon.
Alshon. Another player who just could not get his shit together. He's just been hurt his whole career. Anyway.
Yet again, another team in the Eagles that it's like, you need a wide receiver in this draft.
They paid him, unfortunately.
Like, both their top two wide receivers.
Injury.
But Dave, let's kind of segue that. Where the Bears into this past week of games.
Yep.
You're the Bears fan. Like, this is a game where the Bears rallied late in the fourth, but
no, we didn't rally.
Hey,
we got garbage time.
Everyone's saying rallied late in the fourth.
Garbage time.
As a Bears fan watching the game, thoughts?
We're ass and we need to fire people.
Okay.
It's literally this in the last segment. We're ass. We need to fire people. That was garbage time against a zone prevent defense. We looked good because we played hurry up because we do every single fucking week when we're down by 40. It doesn't actually matter. It doesn't give me hope. It doesn't make me think we've figured anything out. We have a waste of talent on the defensive end. It doesn't matter what we do on offense because they're all awful. Our play calling is awful. Everything is awful. The Titans aren't even that good.
We
still lost to them. We held Derrick Henry to fucking 60 yards?
68. You couldn't let him get one more? Couldn't let him get just one more yard? 69? Nice.
How do we stop the beast in the fucking backfield from getting over 70 yards and we can't do dick on the offensive end? Yeah. I mean, we had a situation where it's 4th and 1. And guess what? I freaked out on Twitch chat, or not Twitch chat, but on Discord. So I'm like, they literally lined up in the neutral zone, didn't get called for it, flinched, and then caused us to create a
false start.
It's a false start, and then it was another false start, and then I just wanted to fucking turn off the game. I was like, wow, we can't play football. The refs didn't see, I love how the sideline camera shows it perfectly. It's like, here's the ball, and here's them lining up over the ball. Oh, no penalty there. Didn't see that happen, but we sure saw him flinch.
Whereas the Cowboys got called on 2 of those late in the game.
I can't, man. I can't be a Bears fan. Even Seth Rollins on Twitter every single week. It's just, I hate football.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, as a Bears fan, you just hate football right now.
The thing I can tell you though is, I mean, although they're different situations, I know what Bears fans feel like in a sense because my team was there. We're like,
you had the best defense in football, and
best defense in football. We were supposed to we were one game from the playoffs. The other year it was like we were supposed to come back, and now we're nowhere sniffing it. Like I feel like we should be better than our record is now, but like we're still like not good to where it's like I feel wasted, and it's like the only thing that's different is we don't like I don't blame Spielman and Zimmer like I blame Pace and Nagy. Our problem is we paid a fucking quarterback. What?
Nothing.
I mean, I fucking, for me, it's the fucking quarterback we paid. At least you can get out of your quarterback. We can't get out of ours.
We have a 4th rounder for Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And we gave up 2 first rounders for Trubisky.
We just overpaid ours to where we're stuck with them.
We're
stuck with them.
It's sad.
Non-Bears game, though. Broncos and Falcons. This is one that I thought the Falcons were going to lose a little bit when I was like, okay, like Todd Gurley's not going a little bit. Like, could the Broncos do what they did last week and squeak out a win late on the? Well, this one was on the road. Last week's was at home. Falcons though getting the win. They're positive record after firing Dan Quinn.
Yeah, no, that's all it is. It's just you gotta get somebody else in there who is not an idiot, and good job for them. I'm envious, and I wish I were them at times. I wish we had maybe lost that game, because then you know what, we wouldn't be in this position.
Yeah, I mean,
real shame.
Broncos tried to come back too. They're down 34-13. Then you got fucking Drew Lock, man, fucking pass to Tim Patrick.
What a roll.
And then a run in by fucking Drew Lock to pull him within the 34-27. What, 2 touchdowns through the air, the one through the legs, like
through the leg. No, he went through the defense. It was great because he could have gone for the pylon, but instead he turned in and went straight at the guy and just made a miss. He did a little spin move.
And I mean, with the Falcons too, news that they had today, they have waived Takaris McKinley, one of the edge rusher that I want to say hasn't been. We talked about him like a couple weeks ago. He was the big one in the free agency. Are they going to re-sign him or not?
Right.
Well, they waived him, so he's going to be on a different team. Seattle Buffalo, Dave. This was one on Friday.
Should have known better.
On Friday, I asked, will the Bills offense wake up? And to me, that's exactly what happened. This Bills offense woke up. Josh Allen was like, oh, shit, I can throw. I can sling this ball because I'm fucking Josh Allen.
No, because it's Seattle's defense. I think the worst, I thought the Dallas Cowboys defense was bad defensively. The fucking Seahawks team.
And
Ricky, Cam Newton threw about 396 on them.
Yeah.
Everyone in the league can throw on this Seahawks defense. They are the worst passing defense
there was
in
the
NFL.
one John Brown play where I was like, it was just like whoop right through butter. He just sliced through.
I will give credit to Josh Allen. He had a great comeback game after weeks of looking like literal trash out there.
Yeah.
They are good again, and I like that they didn't slow up. That's the thing I give them credit for, because Russell Wilson never gives up. Russell Wilson will never give up. You can't have any lead. He will come for you.
Let me ask this, and Cowherd brought this up last week heading into this week, of how far can Russell Wilson carry this team? Because to me it seemed like maybe, I know I was, so where it's like, oh, Seahawks will win, they're a good team, and then you look at them this week and you're like, oh, maybe it is all like they're putting everything on Russell Wilson, to where like in the past, Legion of Boom, they didn't have to do that. They had a great defense, and this defense nowhere near LOB.
No, they're literally one of the worst defenses of all time as far as passing is concerned. You look at every single passer has had a great game against him except Jimmy G. And that's
been a
hilarious.
shit year for Jimmy G, though.
He had a high ankle sprain, so sucks to suck sometimes. They are just 49ers are snake bitten.
Like, should Seahawks fans be worried, like, if they have to go up against the Packers or the Bucks or the Saints, that they might not win that playoff game?
This was definitely a wake up call for them. This was reality staying in going, okay, I knew we had to be worried about it, but Russ has been, if Russ plays at his highest level, we can beat anyone. Yeah. And now it's like, okay, Russ didn't have a good game, but I don't know that he could have won this game even if he did go perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is definitely a mindset of like, shit, we really need to change some things around here. I don't know how they're using players or if they got to make a decision to put somebody on the bench, but like shit's got to change.
I mean, the good thing for Seattle, and I know any given Sunday, but I'm going to fucking say it anyways. The good thing for Seattle is that you're going to be 11 wins this season.
Probably.
At least. And the reason why I say that is the only 3 tough games you have is the next 2 weeks you got Rams and Cardinals. Those will be tough. Then you have a 4-game stretch that consists of Philly, New York, Washington.
Wow.
Then you play the Rams again, and then you play San Francisco. So, like, you should, if you don't win 6 more games this year, then no excuse.
No, I mean, they've got at least 4 wins out of that, like you said, and then after that, it's up to them
5
to figure it out.
more. 5 more. Yeah, because they're 6-2. So 5 more brings them to 11.
Yeah, so I think they should have 4 at least. Wins. It's just a question of do they hit 11 or do they struggle against in conference. Yeah. I think they'll be fine. It's just a matter of like
the big question
this could be
for
a
me is
11 win. I can't hear you because you keep talking.
Go ahead.
It just cancels out.
No, go ahead.
Discords. I just wonder if even if they're 11 and an 11 win team, I don't know how far they make it in the playoffs. Like you said, like if they get matched up against an Aaron Rodgers, like that's a duel in the playoffs again. That's an Aaron Rodgers throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns against you kind of a situation. Yeah. But they also don't have a run defense. So do you think that DJ Dallas has it in him to slow them up? Like that's the question you got to figure out. Like matchup wise, that's where the concern is now.
Right now, if the playoffs ended today, Saints would get the bye. Seahawks would be 2 because they have the tiebreaker over Green Bay right now. And Seattle would play Arizona in the first week of the playoffs. It'd be
we'll have to see this matchup. I mean, we got.
I'm sorry, Rams. Rams would go to Seattle. Arizona would go to Green Bay, and then Tampa Bay would go to Philly.
I still favor Seattle over the Rams, so I'm not too worried about that matchup.
Yeah, it's against the top 5. Well, 4. Top 4. I mean, I said 5 because Tampa Bay is 5, but Philly shouldn't be 5. That's the thing. Are they going to compete when they go up against Packers, Saints, and Bucks? The next game, Dave, this was one where I should have fucking flipped. I shouldn't have picked the Colts. I picked the Colts because I was like, you know what? I'm down on the Ravens right now. This Colts team is going to come through. And then what did the Ravens do, Dave? They played a pretty good game. Phillip Rivers, the epitome, or what am I thinking of? Basically like Phillip Rivers in a picture at times could be shown in a play where throws an interception. I can't remember what player it was for the Ravens, running it back. Phillip Rivers goes to tackle and then just falls back on his back, and the defender just runs right over him as he goes right into the end zone. Like, I knew the next 4 games, this and the next 3, were going to be iffy for the Colts, but if you're a Colts fan, this is not how you wanted to start your 4-game stretch.
No, but I agree. They are who we thought they were, kind of a moment for Phillip Rivers. Is like, yep, he's going to fuck this up for them, isn't he?
Yeah.
That is exactly what I was like. They have the better defense. The Ravens had struggled. They are still without Mark Ingram. And I was like, okay, maybe this Ravens team is going to hit a little bit of a struggle here, and they're not going to be – no, fuck.
No, fuck. That ain't going to happen. But, yeah, like I think the Colts, they play Tennessee next. I think it's Tennessee, Green Bay, Tennessee, because they obviously don't play Tennessee back-to-back. So it'll be interesting to see if they bounce back. And then, hey, the Ravens, they keep pace with Pittsburgh, who we'll talk about a little bit later as they stay unbeaten. The next game, Dave, I think to me it comes down to one of 2 questions, because looking at the record, the Panthers are 3-6 now. I don't think they sniffed the playoffs, but like this game, Panthers-Chiefs, did it tell you more about the Panthers of what kind of a team they are with Christian McCaffrey out there? Or does this tell you more about like, hey, maybe we don't take anything for granted in the NFL, that even though the Chiefs are the undefeated Super Bowl champions, maybe anything is possible, and they might not be the easy coast into the Super Bowl like some think.
I mean, I think it says a lot about the Carolina Panthers are a much better team than their 3-6 record says. Obviously, With Christian McCaffrey, they're a different kind of beast. Now, unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey injured now, shoulder. Fuck you, game. It's the NFL and me in fantasy football all colluded to decide that anyone I pick is deathly injured.
Yeah.
As soon and as often as possible.
Yeah.
So I apologize to Christian McCaffrey and the Panthers. They're damn good when they're playing together.
Yeah.
To his credit.
He had 69 rushing yards. Nice. And 83 through the air. Curtis Samuel's at 105.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they were cutting out that Chiefs defense when they needed to, and that was the thing. So Chiefs, no, I mean we watched the Chiefs lose to the Raiders. The Chiefs are definitely a team who any given week can be competitive, but I just feel at the end of the day they will shine it out. Like that fourth quarter duel was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I mean
I enjoyed it.
The worry I have for the Chiefs, running back, because like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In his last 3 games, Dave, 8 touches, 6 touches, 6 touches. Like, he fell off a fucking cliff from getting at least 16 to 20, got 26 in the game against Buffalo.
Well, that was a weather thing.
And then in the so like at least like 16 to 20. And then now he's getting no more than 8 in a game.
Right.
Like, to me, that's the worrisome part of, like, is this the Andy Reid kind of, and this goes back to your question of, like, who's really calling the plays? I said I think Bieniemy calls it. Maybe a Chiefs fan can correct me, but, like, this leads into is Andy Reid really calling the plays? Because what does Andy Reid like to do? Forget that he has fucking running backs back there. And what do you need to do to win games? Establish a run game and
you gotta dominate the ball. You gotta dominate the point of possession. And you gotta run the clock. And when you pass the ball every fucking down, it does not tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just one of those of like, they got to stop relying on Patrick Mahomes way too much because, yes, Mahomes is good, but you need an established run game behind him. Next one, Dave, Dalvin Cook, like I mentioned earlier, BOIZ had a great game for the Vikings. Kirk Cousins also had 3 touchdowns, but, you know,
13 to 20.
Like Mitch Trubisky can also beat the Lions, so I ain't giving him much credit for beating the Lions. Matt Stafford, after being cleared to play after testing negative, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. We saw a Chase Daniels sighting late in the game, 1 touchdown, 1 interception for Chase.
No S on the end of that one, Chase Daniels.
I know.
He's not in Chicago anymore.
Good. But I mean, Joe Burrows isn't, and I still put Joe Burrows on it.
Yeah, but Chase Daniel was in Chicago, so I was totally all in the S, but now I'm not.
No, he's on the Lions now, so we can't do that.
I can disrespect him again.
This is a game.
Yeah, Stafford hadn't practiced with this team all week. He flew out on a private jet to play with them on Sunday morning. It was not going to be his best game.
Yeah.
Should have known that. It shows poorly. I regret it. Yeah. You know?
Because that was one.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, you were one that you were like, if Stafford plays, I'm going Lions. If he doesn't, I'm going Vikings. I'll be honest. I didn't expect Dalvin Cook to have. I said it on Friday. Don't expect him to have another game like he had against the Packers. And Dalvin Cook put a foot in my mouth.
Ain't broke, don't fix a game plan, baby. Hand the rock off 34 total rushes by the Minnesota Vikings.
Here's my question. Is there any way Dalvin Cook, I'm not going to say wins the MVP because he'll go to a quarterback, but is there any way Dalvin Cook, if he continues at performances like this, does he finish top 3 in the MVP?
I think he can.
Okay.
If he can keep up like 120 yard per game, absolutely. Yeah. He absolutely deserves to. Regardless of the Vikings record, even if they go 8-8, 100%, he deserves to be top 3 in voting right now.
Dave, the next game, you called it. I should have went with the Giants. Like,
if there's one team in the NFL that Danny Dimes can beat, it is the Washington football team.
Even if it's close, like, oh man, like there was a part of me, it was a sad moment for Kyle Allen. He goes down.
Oh my God, that team is cursed.
But then seeing Alex Smith play, I was like, please win it, Alex. Please win it, Alex. Alex got his first touchdown since the injury. I'm like, please win it, Alex. And then like I saw on my phone, 23-20. I'm like, yes, they can pull it out. And I was like, damn it. Danny Dimes just pulls out the win against Washington. Dave, I should have went with you. I should have went Giants, but nope. My stupid dumb brain was like, can't pick Danny Dimes, can't pick the Giants. They can't win.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I didn't even look at who was playing on the teams. It's just Washington versus New York. Had to go with the team that has their number. Same time, every time the Bears play the Vikings, they got to pick the Bears.
Yeah.
Just,
I mean, you pick the Bears every week, though.
Yeah, I do. Which, again, I don't even want the loss for the credit since I picked against the Bears officially. But I understand that I got to play the game.
If you're Washington going forward, like Kyle Allen, let's say he can't start next week. Let's say he's out for extended time.
You see his ankle?
I saw, Dave. I saw. I'm just posing a question.
This year. He'll be lucky if he plays football next year, Ricky. That was disgusting.
Washington, do you stick with Alex Smith or do you go back to Dwayne Haskins?
They pure straight hate Dwayne Haskins.
Okay.
But he will get snaps before the year's over. Yes.
Because
they need to figure out what they got.
I feel like it's Alex Smith just because
Alex
of who they
Smith
started in this game.
What are we, week 7, 8, and 9?
9.
So we're 9 weeks into the season. Alex Smith will start for 4 more weeks.
Okay.
We'll get 2 starts maybe 2 starts for Haskins at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Or in garbage time where it's they're losing by 30 and it's what harm is it going to be? I mean, you got to figure it out. I talked earlier about trying to find out what the rest of the talent on the team is with having Allen out there, having Alex Smith out there. But now that you're through the glut of the season, a couple more games, you'll have that locked in for going who's sticking it out, who's going to be moved next season, where's the contracts going. You can put Dwayne back in and let him run it out and see what happens.
Yeah, because this is not a team that is some teams. It's they could be playing themselves back into a playoff hunt. The Washington team is not.
This one.
And they're going to get to a point where eventually they're going to be we need that higher draft pick. So we're going to put maybe Dwayne in. Dave, the next game, Texans beat the Jaguars. I just want to say, there's a part of me that's I feel sorry for Deshaun Watson. He has to go through a season like this because, there's this is a game that the Texans should have handily beat Jacksonville. I know we talk about the AFC South being always tough and the Jaguars are always that team down in Jacksonville. The heat gets to you, Dave. You start miraging it, seeing linemen that you don't really think that are there. This should have been a game that was not 27-25, Dave. This is something to where I almost gave fucking Lutton a wet boy, and he doesn't deserve it because
he was this close, yeah.
Because he didn't lose the game badly, and that's the thing with this Texan team.
He made a heroic fourth quarter drive with no timeouts, and put this Jacksonville team in position to win the game.
Give him the mustache.
It was a terrible call on the 2-point conversion, unfortunately. That was the only thing that killed it. If he had been able to pull that off, that would have been magic right there. But Will Fuller, looking like a top 5 wide receiver in football now.
I would say an elite wide receiver. Am I right, Dave?
It's almost like they had a wide receiver with talent still, and you clowned on this team for not having wide receivers with talent.
Yeah, I did. But I'm also now clowning on the Packers because looks like they have an elite wide receiver that could have helped out Aaron Rodgers, right?
They do.
Because everyone was ooh, I wouldn't call him elite now.
Hey, he's only just caught the fucking ball every single game. Yeah. No worries. Whatever. DJ Chark, though, popping off a little. I'm excited for my boy.
I'm excited on that
Mid-round draft pick wide receiver. Yeah. He's very versatile. He's been a running back at times for this Jacksonville team. Caught a big run, 73-yard touchdown to start the game off. But had a really good game.
Yeah, I'm excited about DJ, only because in the Dynasty Fantasy League that I'm in that took off this year, I got DJ Chark. So it's obviously I want to see him do well because he's on my team.
I drafted DJ Chark in Fantasy League.
Yeah. I only stayed away from him because I didn't think Jackson was going to be that great.
They don't have a quarterback.
Dave, you know who's the quarterback, though, I should really feel sorry for?
Whew, I know.
Justin Herbert. Dave, I'm going to take you down a little memory lane.
I can't wait.
And
no, you go. You go.
So I put out a tweet, and I was writing this tweet before the play was finalized, and I had to tag on a little, excerpt to the end of it, where Justin Herbert makes that throw, right? Makes that throw to, what was it, Parham that caught it and did not hang on to it. I said,
did he catch it?
This is the tweet. That throw right there is that, or in that moment, that is why I was so high on Justin Herbert last draft season. If only his receiver hung on to the ball. This is a kid where I'm starting to think, Dave, maybe they shouldn't draft an offensive tackle with their first round pick. They should draft a wide receiver, whether that's Jamar Chase, whether that's Jalen Waddle, whether that's even Devonta Smith. Like, can we get Justin Herbert something to where he can win a game? Because I feel like each week I'm looking at it going, man, Herbert's playing really well. Wait, why didn't the Chargers win here? They should have won that game. Like, this is another one. Like, the Raiders squeaked one out with a victory. Herbert should have had a victory. Shouldn't be 2-6.
That was a cool end to the game, though. You got to admit, like,
that's a quarterback throw.
It was the game-winning touchdown. Donald Partham Jr., for those who don't know and didn't listen on Sunday, I believe he had, up to that point, he had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns in his NFL career. So that would have been 3 for 3. So he's a touchdown machine. That's all he does is catch touchdowns. And that was heartbreaking. But at the same time, it was like the touchdown happened, the cannons go off, everybody's celebrating. And all of a sudden, the camera goes on to a cornerback from the Raiders, and he's just running down the field doing this. And he's just like, and they're like, wait, that wasn't a touchdown. He didn't hold the ball the whole time. The ball came loose. As far
Don't
as
worry about the Mike Williams one that happened before that, where he was apparently out of bounds.
Well, he got hurt. He dropped the ball.
Yeah.
He had the catch.
Okay.
It was 100% a catch, but he dropped the ball because he got hurt.
Okay. I thought it was one where they said that he was out of bounds, and then he dropped it, obviously, because he was hurt.
No, the ball, like, as he was coming down with it, the ball bounced loose.
Okay.
And that was the problem. So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, like, if he hadn't gotten hurt on that play, he would have been there for the next one.
Yeah.
Or he would have been able to complete the catch. So I think between Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, you do have 2 good pass catchers, and you still have Hunter Henry. Not too shabby at the wide receiver at the tight end position.
I totally thought after Williams came out, watching that game, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, the camera showed Keenan Allen. I'm like, they're going to force it to Keenan Allen.
Oh, absolutely. They had that bunch package with the 4-on-1, and it was like, so to go wide receiver screen they're setting up here.
Yeah.
And I didn't think they're going to the 1. I thought there was 100% down, going to make a break for the end zone on the corner pylon.
I would like to know if that was actually the first read. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was a time thing where it's like he was supposed to go there, or if it was a hike, read the screen. It's not
it has
there.
To be damn near instant on that screen. The problem was that they had called the Raiders had called timeout to see the play, and they came back with the same exact play, so they had the personnel to line up there.
Oh, it was just one of those to where
it was a hell of a game. Air Bear's a fucking saint, though. Like,
you've got the future. LA's got it. Yeah,
he is better than Joe Burrow. I'll say it right now.
LA's got the future. At least you could do that.
100%. I'm incredibly jealous.
Dave, Dallas. I thought they were going to upset the Steelers for a second. For a hot second, I was like, please don't. I was like, please don't. Please don't. JD also says that's a lie, Dave. JD going for Joe Burrow.
JD, unfortunately, you're wrong. I talked about it last week. I'll talk about it next week. I'll talk about it every goddamn week I need to. Herbert, Air Bear, Rookie of the Year.
But Dave, I was wrong. It was not Cooper Rush that got the start for
Garrett Gilbert.
Your boy Garrett Gilbert.
I got it right.
You did. Your boy that I wish I could pull up the tape. It was from when we used to do the podcast in that small little closet.
Yeah.
At Pete's studio, UI and Mark and Dave sitting there going, I like this kid out of SMU, this Garrett Gilbert guy.
I think he had potential.
He had a fucking cannon is what he had. He's fucking in his pro day slinging it from the 50-yard line.
Now you see it when Gilbert gets hot.
Yeah.
Boy can fucking deal.
Yeah, this was a game, though, I am so glad that the Steelers, Minkah Fitzpatrick, thank you for that interception. It brought life to the Steeler team. Big Ben did what he does and gets 3 touchdowns in the game. Got hurt, came back.
Walked off the field, scared the hell out of everyone.
Scared the hell out of me. That's my fantasy. That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback in the MVP league.
And then, thankfully, walked right back on, and we were like, oh, thank you, G. Like, thank you. But the Steelers just play down.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but they play down to bad teams.
Yep.
This was the game where they were like, yeah, this is basically a second bye week. and
they
felt it.
So,
but the weird thing, can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
I didn't catch during this game.
Go ahead.
Was the struggles of Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Now, what the hell happened to him this game? Because he had 18 carries for 51 yards, under 3 yards of carry out there.
I think it's just the Steelers' defense is tough. This Steelers defense is rough.
Pollard didn't seem to have a problem out there.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
they're killing it.
I do also wonder though if it was also something to where, like you said, where it seemed like the Steelers were like, oh, this is another bye week. Does that translate over into, oh, it's just Pollard back there? You don't bring the same type of intensity if it's not fucking
maybe just time of the
Elliott.
game. Maybe it was a situational thing where Zeke got the early rushes.
Because Pollard yard-wise only had 6 more yards than Zeke.
Yeah, but on half the fucking rushes.
Yeah, good point. 20 yards was his long point. Good point.
6.3 yard average versus 2.8 yard average. Like Zeke is just, I don't know if I've seen a man stock plummet so hard without a quarterback while just being a running back. Like, I mean, it makes sense because people can pack the box against them, but good old Gary Gilbert out there slinging dimes and like putting the fear of God in the Steelers.
Gary Gilbert. I fucking
I'm sure he really appreciates being called Gary, but whatever.
I mean, for me, it's just one of those things where like Zeke is a whole. This whole season, like maybe it's just the epitome of the Cowboy season, but like I look at it and I go, "Oh, Zeke, you should be better than this." Like this whole Cowboys team should be better than this. Now they're 2-7, as the Steelers go to 8-0. Before I move on, though, last Steeler thing I want to ask you, Dave. If you had to put your money on one of these next two teams beating the Steelers because they play down to opponents, you putting it on Joe Burrows next week, or you putting it on Luton in week number 11?
I think Joe Burrow has a better shot.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe Burrow has a better shot.
The next play down game is Washington. I don't put like maybe Alex Smith, but like I don't think they lose to Washington.
Hard to say that, yeah.
And then Dave, 2 more games left. The first one, I forgot about this one. I was ready to go into the Sunday night game, but I was so happy watching this. So happy to watch Tua Tagovailoa get his first win in the NFL. Like this was
Second win? What are you talking about?
Second win. Oh, that's right. Am I missing?
He literally won last week.
That's right. I totally forgot they won last week.
He beat the 49.
Second. Maybe it's because last week it was like, all right, you beat what you said that did they play the Niners last week? I totally forgot about that game last week.
Rams.
The point is, you're right, the Rams. The point is this one seemed like anything you can do, I can do better. Kyler Murray goes out there, does something amazing. Tua Tagovailoa, like there was one where it's like, oh, Tua got sacked there. Tua's still up. Tua went through. Tua's all the way running down the field. How the hell did he get out of the backfield? Like,
Tua is exactly the guy who I ranted about 3 weeks ago here, 4 weeks ago maybe, and was like, there's no reason to be afraid about Tua Tagovailoa playing quarterback for this Miami team. He is better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick himself said there are throws that he can make that I can't. Yeah. Now, Tua went out there on a big stage and performed, and he had a duel with one of the other best young quarterbacks in the NFL, and Tua went out there and showed him why he's the guy. And this was a Miami team whose defense has been incredible all year.
Dude, they've been playing so well as of late.
Dealt. They dealt on them. But when the time came, bend but don't break, baby. Fourth quarter, Cardinals could not get in the end zone. It was a great game. It was absolutely great. I'm with you, man. Like, Kyler Murray almost got my wet boy because he did everything he did almost everything you wanted him to do.
Except be able to win the game.
Except win the game.
I mean,
and it was tough.
Two thoughts.
Yeah, Tua was great.
2 thoughts I have. Sure. First off, if you're either Washington, Detroit, or the Giants, are you watching Tua and Air Bear going, I know we had Haskins, I know we have Stafford, I know we have Danny Dimes, but man, if I redraft, I'm taking one of them fucking at our pick.
I saw a tweet that was like, imagine taking a cornerback in Detroit over Tua. And it was like, ooh.
I mean, the Redskins you can pass on because like they took Chase Young. So it's like you're getting the best pass rusher.
That is a guy who's going to be in the decade for 10 years and hopefully be a best pass rusher for a couple of those.
Andrew Thomas, offensive line help doesn't hurt. But yeah, taking a Kuda over fucking Tua or Air Bear there, it's like, ooh.
That hurts.
I was going to ask something else. There was some other thing that I was
Jordan Howard getting carried. I'm just going to shout out that man should not be able to touch the ball that many times for that few yards.
The other thing I was thinking about in this one, and I know they lost, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. I couldn't help during this game think back to when like Mark and I on the onside kick would talk about like Cliff Kingsbury when he got the job, and I was like, I don't know about this hire kind of a thing. And it's almost like I was watching this game and I was like, I questioned Kingsbury getting the hire. I questioned Kyler Murray being the number one pick. Not that I didn't think Kyler was good. I just didn't know.
Baker Mayfield concerns.
Basically, to where both of them are fucking proving me wrong. They're a perfect marriage in Arizona.
Worked out well. Really like that team.
And then Dave, the last one, if we could call it a game, happened last night.
I got nothing to say about it. I ranted my way through that whole game already.
So here's my thing with it. And I know Jake in the Discord was like, do I start dancing now? This feels weird. Saints fans are going crazy. Oh my God, we beat the Bucks, blah, 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 blah. Saints fans, I'm going to give you a little bit of dose of reality here. Max Kellerman got hit with this by Stephen A. And I completely agree with Stephen A. And I don't usually do that much. Where Stephen A. was like, all right, Max, he goes, how many, last 3 years, have the Saints been Super Bowl favorites? And Max goes, yeah, they have. He goes, how many Super Bowls have they won, Max? And he goes, 0. And he goes, how many times have they lost in the playoffs against teams they should have beaten? I mean, maybe you throw out the Rams one, you say the refs fucked you. Yeah. That one I'll take. But the other two, losing to my Vikings twice? Like, come on now. Like, this is a Saints team fan base. I know you're happy for your team. Happy if you're winning. But there's a sense of me, it's like, let's not treat this like the Super Bowl because we know what the Saints do in the playoffs. The Saints, as of late, can't get to the big game. They blow it up. Like, here's what I'm going to predict it now, Dave. The Saints are going to play the Packers in the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers is going to beat them. And then Drew Brees will walk off home. Like, that's it.
Like that earlier this year, but okay.
This is something.
Michael Thomas being back is big for them. Can I just admit that? Like, offensively, he changed the game for them just by being available. Big difference out there. So, like, that's one thing to consider. I just don't know.
Or is this just the curse of AB?
Defensively, they're so strong, though, man. Like, that's the thing. They have people's numbers left and right. Like, that's what makes them dangerous is their defense. Their offense should be consistently good. Alvin Kamara should be able to get you first downs and control the ball and dump out passes. Michael Thomas should open up the pass game and spread out guys and draw, double coverage and shit from time to time. So, like, that's like they have all the right guys. They have all the right players. Can they make the right calls at the right time to get there? That's the big problem. I still think they're still favorites in the NFC. It's hard. Like, the Seahawks, we just talked about defensive woes. We talked about the Packers rushing game. They can't stop anyone. Literally, you go out there and rush for about 140 on them. Like, not even a problem. So every team has its flaws. The Saints right now look like the least flawed team in the NFC, but that doesn't make them the best team.
Yeah. I just, and yet again, there's a little spite behind these words because I feel like the last time the Saints won a Super Bowl, they cheated to get there. But when they lose in the playoffs, again, for the 4th straight year, we're basically going to look at it and go, oh, the Saints, Sean Payton, Saints can't win a Super Bowl if they don't have a bounty out on players. I mean,
I don't think that bounty really had anything to do with them winning the Super Bowl. The bounty
in that NFC Championship game, it so did, Dave. If fucking Brett Favre had a healthy leg and wasn't fucked up by that bounty, we would have won that game. But like the Green Bay beat the Saints this year. They beat them earlier, 37-30. That was the one where Tonya had the three touchdowns, right?
But that was the game without Michael Thomas, right?
Yeah, no, it was without Michael Thomas. I agree. Michael Thomas adds to that team.
I'm saying that's why I brought him up because he's the difference maker on that matchup. Like, I think that he puts them over the top.
With the Saints when it comes to the playoffs.
I want to check. Was Alvin Kamara there that day either?
And I was wrong. It wasn't the Tonya 3-touchdown game was against the Falcons, I believe. That was just a really good game for the Saints. But yeah, my big thing with the Saints is when they get to the playoffs, they just I don't know if it's like a Steeler thing of they play down to teams or that or what. The miracle was because their corner couldn't tackle. The Rams one, I will say they kind of got fucked there because of the refs, so I can go ahead and say that. But even the last Viking, watching that last Viking win with fucking Jake, I felt bad because I'm like, we should not be beating you right now. You should be beating us.
Agreed.
Why are you not beating us?
Agreed.
Did you go ahead and find what you were looking for?
Oh yeah, no. I checked it. Okay. Correct. It was the game. It did not have a Michael Thomas in it. Okay. So yeah. I'm like, I think that'll be different when they run it back. Mm-hmm. But point being,
who knows? What if they play Tom Brady and Tom Brady wins when it matters?
Ooh,
that could also happen. And then who's got the last laugh kind of a thing. That's why it's like the whole Jameis Winston eating the W. It's like
that was pretty awesome.
Like
that was pretty awesome.
Jameis, you are the one that should not be set. Like you're only winning.
He went out there and took a snap.
Okay, he took one snap. They're only winning because of Drew Brees, not fucking Jameis Winston. Okay.
The point is, he took a snap against his former team in a blowout victory.
Yeah.
That
which
is
he had nothing to do.
Living life to the fullest moment in your face.
Which he had nothing, like, that's the
doesn't matter if it had anything to do with it.
Oh, I think it does.
He was able to go out there and be that guy.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He got to eat the dub.
That's like fucking Danny Green fucking being ecstatic fucking for the finals when they won because of LeBron and AD.
Danny Green did play basketball at least.
I would say Kyle. You know what? James Winston's like Kyle Kuzma. That's what he is. He only got that ring.
Contributed quite a bit.
What?
Kyle Kuzma did more than Danny Green in that championship run.
Okay. James Winston's either one of them, but like
I'm trying to think of like someone who just stood on the court. Jared Dudley. He's the Jared Dudley of that team.
Or is he the James Jones? I would say the James Jones. Like James Jones was on the Heat.
James Jones played some basketball at some point in his career. I'm sure.
Later on, he just fucking coat read. He just rode the coat of LeBron. But we're getting off of it. But that's going to do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. There's an NFL game.
Jameis. That's all it is. You just hate Jameis.
He's not good.
But he's not bad.
No, he's bad. He's bad, Dave.
He's incredibly bad and turnover prone, but he can sling the fucking rock.
There's a game going on right now. Fucking Patriots are only up 7-3, Dave. We'll be talking about this. I know. Cam Newton's got the touchdown, though, so it's okay.
I said Cam Newton was 4 for 4 last time I checked.
Cam Newton ran in for the touchdown, so he's got a rushing touchdown. That's 6 points, Dave, not that measly 4 you get for the passing. JD, is there really an NFL game going on right now?
6 for 6 passing and a 5-yard rushing touchdown. You can't ask him to be better at football. That's how bad the Jets are.
Yeah, I was going to say, he should be like that. It's the Jets he's playing. But that's going to do it for us. Make sure, join the best community on the internet. Bam, link down below if you're on YouTube, ! Discord, into Twitch. Get you there. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you go ahead and do that. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids, where we're live every Monday through Friday. But we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Soapy getting here in the end says it's basically a G League football game. That's basically any game with the Jets, right? But thank you guys for doing everything you do, watching, listening. Dave and I will be back tomorrow for another great show. And as always, have a good day, everybody.